Have you ever wondered what goes on in a person's mind when they are left completely alone, isolated from the world? Picture this: a Hollywood legend, Jean Hackman, known for his dynamic roles and commanding presence, suddenly vanishes from the limelight, retreating into a quiet life in Santa Fe. But one tragic week changed everything. With his beloved wife gone and no one to hear his cries, the world was oblivious to the haunting silence that filled their home. What secrets lay hidden during those 7 days? And how did they shape the final moments of a star? Buckle up as we unravel the mysterious silence of Jean Hackman's last week, where heartbreak meets isolation in a story that's as chilling as it is compelling. Let's dive in. What happens when a beloved Hollywood icon chooses to step away from the spotlight? For Jean Hackman, the choice to retreat to Santa Fe with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, seemed like a dream, a serene escape from the chaos of fame. With the sun setting over picturesque landscapes, it promised a tranquil life filled with art and peace. But little did anyone know that this serenity would plunge into a profound silence. As the days turned into years, Hackman was rarely seen publicly. While his peers basked in the limelight, he became a ghost, savoring the quiet. Reports hinted that this was not just a simple retirement, but a deliberate, almost desperate fight against a fading legacy. Friends, once thick as thieves, began to fade away, and rumors of an aversion to public life grew. Was he truly content, or was this an attempt to hide a growing turmoil within? Fans wondered about the chasm between the legendary actor they adored and the stranger who inhabited this secluded life. The whispers grew. Could that silence hold echoes of regret, heartache even? What secrets lay beneath that quiet exterior, waiting to be uncovered? Yet in the midst of this apparent tranquility, there was a heartbreak brewing, a profound solitude masked by the serenity of the New Mexico landscape. This isolation would soon spiral into something unimaginable, setting the stage for one of the most chilling weeks in Jean Hackman's life. As we peel back the layers, perhaps we'll find that the silence bore witness to more than just a peaceful existence. After years under the blinding lights of Hollywood's fame, Jean Hackman craved a life away from the chaos. When he settled in the picturesque landscape of Santa Fe, he believed he had found tranquility. With sprawling vistas and the serene embrace of the desert, his home became a sanctuary. Yet, with each passing day, the isolation that once felt calming began to morph into something eerie and foreboding. The couple's life together had always been marked by companionship, filled with laughter and shared dreams. But as the days turned into weeks, a stillness crept into their home. A stillness that was shattered on February 11th when Betsy disappeared. No tearful farewells, no explanation, just the abrupt silence of her absence. Days passed without notice from friends or family. The phone remained silent, and the familiar sounds of life, the laughter of visitors, the buzzing of social interactions, were replaced by an unsettling quiet. The shadows in the house seemed to stretch, growing darker with each moment of solitude. Jean, once a titan of the screen, now filled the vast emptiness of his home with the echo of his own footsteps. With no one to check in, no gentle voices of concern to cut through the stillness, Jean's isolation deepened. What once was a sanctuary now felt like a tomb. The walls absorbed his secret thoughts and haunting doubts. Memories of laughter faded into whispers, replaced by an overwhelming sense of abandonment. It left listeners to wonder, what secrets were hidden within those walls, and what depth of despair can one face in their darkest moments? As we delve deeper into Hackman's solitude, the circumstances surrounding Betsy's disappearance begin to intrigue. Old friends reminisce about his brilliance, but that brilliance became a shimmering haze. Could he have been aware of the shadows lurking close? The days crept slowly, but so did the secrets that enveloped him in their shroud. But the haunting question remains, did anyone think to reach out? How could someone of his stature end up trapped in silence, battered down by the weight of unspoken fears? The dark corners of the house seemed to hold answers, hinting that what lay beneath the surface was far more profound than mere isolation. As we move forward, one can't help but ask, what emotional toll did those days take on a man once surrounded by the fervor of Hollywood? The tale thickens, and so too does the mystery of Jean Hackman's shadowy retreat from the limelight he once called home. Can you imagine what those 7 days felt like for Jean Hackman, immersed in solitude without anyone to reach out to him? The world outside moved on, oblivious to the agony of a man lost in his own thoughts. As the hours turned into days, how did he cope with the absence of the woman he loved? Did he wander the halls of their home, searching for reminiscences of laughter echoing in the once vibrant space? Did he mistake silence for peace, believing that Betsy would walk through the door at any moment, as if time itself had paused? Or did the weight of reality gradually seep in, drenching him in despair? It's haunting to think of him surrounded by memories, the framed photographs that captured the joy of shared moments, now serving as painful reminders of her absence. The sunlight streaming through the windows must have felt like a cruel joke, illuminating an empty room and casting long shadows of unfulfilled dreams. The dogs had no human words, yet their instinct must have understood something was awry. Did they sit quietly by his side, sensing his inner turmoil as they shared that heavy air of unspoken grief? As days blended together, did Jean struggle to maintain his routine, or did those daily rituals slip away as he descended further into the abyss? The once simple act of sipping coffee in the morning must have felt surreal, no longer accompanied by lighthearted conversations. Each passing moment only deepened the void, a cruel reminder that he was alone, feeling the depths of despair wrap around him like a suffocating fog. But what happened next would change everything. A simple act of routine, someone knocking on the door, was about to break that long, haunting silence. The question remains, did he ever truly realize how dire his situation had become, or was he still clinging to the fragile hope that Betsy would return? The abyss was closing in, and the echoes of those 7 days would define a tragic end for one of Hollywood's brightest stars. In the confines of that once vibrant home, silence reigned supreme, yet it was not absolute. There were witnesses to the unfolding drama, 2 loyal dogs, the only heartbeat breaking the stillness. These loyal companions had seen it all, their eyes keenly observing the shifting atmosphere around them. Imagining their perspective evokes both sorrow and intrigue, they sensed something was amiss long before humans did. Canine instincts are sharp, attuned to the emotional tides of their owners. With Betsy absent, these dogs felt the weight of an unseen burden, their once joyful barks replaced by an eerie stillness. Each passing day without their beloved companion brought a palpable tension that hung in the air. Did they stand vigil by the door, awaiting her return? Did they feel the shift in energy as Jean drifted deeper into his solitude? With each minute stretching into hours, the dogs became confused and anxious. Were they aware of the gravity of the situation? Did they try to nudge Jean awake with their gentle nudges, sensing his despair? As oblivious passers-by failed to notice the depth of tragedy unfolding within those walls, the dogs were the silent guardians of that haunting truth. But their silence begged the question, what secrets did they hold? Throughout history, stories have been shared through the unlikeliest of characters. And while these dogs could not voice their worries, their presence certainly told a bleak tale of longing and loss. As the days dragged on, it became clear that the true witnesses of this harrowing scenario might have been some of the least understood beings, a reminder that in moments of silence, a world of emotions exists, often overlooked. As we ponder the tragic solitude of Jean Hackman in those haunting days, one can't help but realize how lives intertwine in the most unexpected ways. The unspoken bond between a man and his dogs hinted at the complexity of companionship and the deep connections we forge, even in silence. But the story doesn't end here. There is so much more to unravel, and what happened next could change everything. It started with an unfamiliar stillness that hung thick in the air, one that felt heavier than even the silence itself. As the days passed, the realization must have started to dawn on Jean. Each tick of the clock resonated louder than before, echoing through the empty hallways of their home. Did his mind waver between hope and despair? Was there a flicker of doubt as he meandered through the rooms they once filled with laughter? Then came the pivotal moment, the very instant that would shift his reality into sharp focus. Imagine the light of a new day filtering through the window, casting shadows that danced near his feet. It felt like any other day until the sound of footsteps broke the stillness, a delivery person arriving with mundane packages that held no promise of comfort. As the door creaked open, Was there a glint of expectation in Hackman's eyes? Did he think it might be Betsy, returning to shatter this haunting quiet? But what greeted him instead was a face filled with concern, wide eyes upon seeing the frail figure slumped in that beloved armchair. The realization must have hit like a thunderclap. Betsy was never coming back. In that fleeting moment, Hackman's world turned severe and colorless. The absence of her warmth, laughter, and presence crashed down on him like a wave. The moment was frozen in time. Here was a man known for battling the fiercest of foes on screen, now brought to his knees by an overwhelming truth. It felt as if he had been asleep, trapped in a nightmare, only to wake up and find the love of his life forever lost. But what happened next would shock everyone. The stillness that had enveloped his world began to give way to a desperate call for help, one that would stretch beyond those four walls and reach into the heart of Hollywood, reminding everyone of not just what they lost, but who they truly were. As whispers of his condition spread, the disbelief lingered. How could the one-time titan of the silver screen disappear in plain sight, leaving behind an unanswered silence? As the sun set on a quiet Santa Fe afternoon, Hollywood was about to face a shocking reality. Jean Hackman, the versatile actor who had captivated audiences for decades, was gone. News traveled like wildfire, and the industry stopped in its tracks. Friends and colleagues, many of whom hadn't spoken to Hackman in years, were left grappling with the suddenness of his passing. They remembered the iconic roles and the laughter he brought to the screen, but beneath the surface, there was an unsettling question lingering. How could such a talented and beloved figure vanish so quietly from the world? The sheer irony of a man known for his powerful performances being overlooked in death was not lost on those who had watched his career unfold from the front rows of movie theaters. Reporters flooded Santa Fe, each hoping for an insider's glimpse into the life of the reclusive star. But they were met with closed doors and a lack of answers. Even the silence around his home seemed to echo the tragedy of his last weeks. As tributes poured in, fans reminisced about the films that marked their lives, The French Connection, Unforgiven, and even his comedic turns in The Royal Tenenbaums. Yet, there was a shared sadness, a sense that Hackman's legacy was marred by the mystery of his last days. The questions were relentless. Who had he become in his solitude? Did he know he was loved? Perhaps the most poignant moment came during a public memorial. Attendees shared stories not only of Hackman's immense talent, but of a man who was deeply human, with flaws and fears like everyone else. It was clear that while his life had come to an abrupt, tragic end, his influence would continue to reverberate through the film industry and the hearts of fans worldwide. As Hollywood mourned, a chilling thought crept into the minds of those present. In a world filled with noise, fame, and constant connection, the greatest tragedy was not just the loss of a legend, but the reminder that even the brightest stars can fade away unceremoniously, leaving just a whisper of their brilliance in the silence behind. And so, Jean Hackman's legacy would endure, not just through his celebrated films, but as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of connection, ensuring that when we step off the stage, we are remembered loud and clear.